why do conflicts between two different groups begin? And I can use those to really kick off the unit. So the book is really very good for that. As a committee, we decided that buying a book for every student, which would be like 50 to 60 books for each grade level, is probably not the best idea. So what we did, we looked at purchasing a classroom set, so about 30 books. So as I have a class, if we're going to use the book in class as a tool or a supplement, they'll have a copy of the book there. As for going home and using homework or using the books at home, as part of the deal we also get online textbooks. So if students are going home and they want to do a reading, and I don't want to send them home with the book because it's a classroom set, they can use the online component, which, by the way, is a great teacher tool, too. I can take a reading or a map from the book and actually edit it and change it the way I want. If I want to erase country names and then print that out and hand it out to them as an assignment for them to do themselves, then that's an option there. It's going to increase the life of the books, too. If kids aren't stuffing them in backpacks and throwing the backpack around and going home and dropping it on the bus and dropping it in the snow. So the classroom set, the life of that set should be a little bit longer, and they should look better for a long time as well. And of course, the online thing for students that are out for a while, that's going to be huge for them. We can actually still teach them even though they're not here for a week or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be.
Well, what about kids that don't have computers at home?
That's my question.
Well, luckily, we're also getting enough books where if they were out for a while, we could still present them with one. Okay, we're getting enough books to not only provide the classroom set, the teachers will have an edition, and I'll be sharing a teacher's, well, I won't be sharing, I'll have a teacher's edition, and the special ed department would have a teacher's edition. We'd be able to do that, or print out things as necessary.
So you could print out like worksheets for those who may not have access to a computer?
It comes fully stocked, and like the book has supplemental material, so if I wanted to use like a worksheet from every single chapter, I could get into that habit if I wanted to. If I wanted to do homework or whatnot. Those are some of the things that I tested with the students as I was trying out these different materials. Each book came with like packets of stuff and ideas. It just so happened that this McGraw-Hill stuff for me and my students seemed to work the best.
Why are they using heavier paper than when I was in school? Those books weigh a ton. I don't remember the books weighing that much.
I thought of bringing an old book for comparison. Yeah. I think those are actually a little less hefty than the old books.
We were just younger then, so it didn't feel so heavy.
True.
Liz?
Ordered a few of those back and forth from home.
Perhaps we should mention, Chris, that the license is, they're giving us the license for free with the purchase of materials. So all this online information that Chris is referring to, they're giving to us for free.
Yeah, McGraw-Hill in general, like, and we talked with several different vendors. They really sweetened the deal with some of the free stuff they're giving us. So we're kind of.
With the quote we received, we're getting approximately $10,000 worth of free materials.
I know you talked about hands-on stuff. You were really into that at one of the FM meetings. So I'm assuming some of the younger grades are the hands-on stuff?
I brought my goods.
Do we have to spend a certain amount of money to get all these free things?
No. Hard sell. No. We told them what we were looking for. They were really wonderful to work with. We said, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what's going to work for us. What can you do for us? And they showed us what they could do for us. And pretty pleased with what they have to offer.
Is Glencoe and McGraw-Hill the same? Is that company together? I know there's one. McMillan, okay.
Oh, yes.
All of these companies that were separate now are kind of coming together. And so some of them have combined. So it used to be that McMillan was one company, Glencoe was another company, but now they're combining.
I thought there was two separate companies.
Yeah, that's why I was just questioning it.
Okay. What I passed out, what Linda's passed out to you, I was given charge of K to 6. Met with a lot of different people trying to figure out, okay, what's going to work in the classroom given the schedule that we have. What we decided was that if we are able to integrate materials into our existing reading, writing program, that would work best for K6 at this time. And a lot of the topics and themes that the social studies program presents is also in our Reading Street program as well. So this would go nicely with that, and they can be used as centers and those types of activities. I have given to you, you have in front of you an overview of materials that are available, and I sticky noted on every page for you, because teachers have lots of sticky notes. On the first page, page 2, you'll see a grade K flip chart. And it'll be nice for kindergarten because it's a big flip chart. The kids can be going up to it, and it'll be a very interactive piece to have in the classroom. On page...
So we'd be ordering one for each class 3.
That is correct.
Yes.
Oh, I should be giving you that information as well. Sorry about that. I do have that in detail. Yeah. Yep. There will be 3 of the flip books that we are asking for. Okay? So each kindergarten teacher would receive one for their classroom. Over to page 6, you'll see I've circled number 2, exclusive Dinah Zykes Reading and Study Skills Foldables, which is this book right here. And it provides a lot of interactive study organizers, and as you probably know, we are always using graphic organizers and things that kids can fold and cut with paper to get their information down. And it works a lot better. It's a lot more interactive for the kids. So we have a lot of great ideas in this book that we can also put in the classroom as well. So that would be a book for, that is going to be, we were asking for 7 of these books, so 1 for each grade level, K through 6th grade. And this would be shared between those teachers in that grade level. But it's a very friendly, user-friendly book. I'll pass that around as well. On page 8, this is my favorite part, we have a lot of leveled readers. And as I mentioned before, these books are going to work nicely with the Reading Street program because a lot of the themes for our social studies curriculum will also be the same themes that the Reading Street has also had. So these leveled readers, they're just small books, colorful. Kids really like them. And those are also going to be a nice piece to integrate into our reading time as well. I'll pass some of those around. And each grade level will receive a set of those for their classroom. And there are 2 titles per unit, and each title is written on 3 different levels, so we can meet the needs of our beginner readers, our on-level readers, and our advanced readers as well.
Mary, do you know if those come in like sets of 6?
They come in sets.
Sets of 6.
Yeah, they are, I can tell you specifically here. There would be the leveled, for example, for grade 1, they have leveled biographies, complete set, 1 each of 15 titles, and we'll get 4 sets for that grade level. And as Chris mentioned, there'll be a set for special ed as well, for K through 6 as well. On page 10 of the booklet I gave you also shows the teacher editions. Now, I'll preface that by saying that K through 6 chose not to purchase textbooks. However, we do want to ask for the teacher's editions because a lot of these supplemental materials offer lesson planning for those materials. It's not just the textbooks. So I think this would be a nice piece to have as well.
And we were going to order those for special ed teachers.
Yes,
also.
that is correct.
So every teacher would have one of those.
Yes, that is correct. And they offer instruction in the leveled readers, vocabulary, and oral reading strategies, things. It'll all be in that.
I like these foldables. Look at these. Look at the folded and cut and stuff. I like those. Those are fun. Could be a fun way to learn.
I'm going to play with those. That looks like fun.
On page 12 in the booklet, you'll see there are several items on this page that we chose to have, if possible. There are the citizenship books, the Idea Factory, vocabulary strategies and vocabulary cards, as well as the World Atlas, all the maps, and oral language cards. And the citizenship book and Idea Factory are all K-6 materials. The vocabulary strategies activities are kindergarten through grade 2. The oral language cards would be K-6, and the World Atlas, all the maps, we would be getting all, I put K-3, but that would be K-6, all grade levels would be getting the new maps, which are really something that we're really looking forward to having, because we don't really have a lot of access to updated maps right now here, so. Over on page 15, you'll see that there would be Timelink's audio CD-ROM K6, and that would be one for each grade level, and that is something we'd be able to use in the technology piece. We did have that. The DVD, the unit Big Ideas, that's going to be one, and it would be housed here in the library to share school-wide. That's what was suggested from the salesperson.
These look like easy readers.
And on the last one would be the presentation toolkit on page 17. Would also be a K-6 item. And this is just something that we can have access to PowerPoint presentations for students within the classroom. And we're able to customize lessons if needed. So
These look like really nice, easy readers.
So those were the materials. I also have some of those materials I can share. The vocabulary strategies and activities book go along with the vocabulary cards. You can look at those. And also the oral language card sampler. What's nice is that these cards, for example, for grade 1, they're very colorful, they're large, they can be touched, handled, not worry about dirty fingers, they can be wiped off easily. And they have a lot of good activity on the back that we can incorporate as well. And a lot of these materials, they can be introduced in a short lesson. So it doesn't have to be an hour long. We don't have an hour. So it'll fit in nicely during a center activity for a lot of this materials. This is an example of the Idea Factory book, which offer activities for if you want to send something home as an activity for the students to do with their families or in a group in the classroom or on their own. This gives a lot of good ideas as well. So
This one only has 2. Is there a book missing? This one only has 2.
and this is an example of one of the maps
This is just their sample set, so.
Yeah.
as well.
These are nice. I just watched them.
The teachers felt there was such diversity in the materials.
There is.
that
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
They would be able to integrate the social studies lessons with other lessons in the classroom. I think you can see just from what Laurie is sharing with you. These materials were received very well by the whole staff. As they said, we can fit this in, we can plan mini lessons, we can plan centers. And as Laurie has walked through the Reading Street curriculum and was talking with me just today about how easily she'll be able to integrate those lessons into the literacy lessons.
I love the
It was well
foldables.
received.
Yeah, Linda, a lot of times when you buy materials or a certain amount, they'll give you X number of professional development time.
Yes,
They say that.
Yes,
they'll
they
give you
did. They
some.
mentioned that Karen Munson, she's the one who came to the full staff.
Mhm.
She would be the person who would be giving us professional development next year.
Okay,
and-
did they say number of days?
We've already lined them up for the NHEA day in October.
Okay.
So they've already got us in their calendar for that.
Okay, so
and,
somebody needs to-
What I was hoping to do this summer with grant money is to bring some teachers in when the materials actually are delivered, so they could get their hands on the materials, unpack them, and go through them like Laurie and Chris have been to see how well they'll fit into their curriculum.
How long would it take to get all this material in, to get it set up?
10 days, they said.
10 days.
Once we order, it'll be here in 10 days.
Well, especially the flip charts and the foldables. I mean, that's to have it interactive with the younger grades. I
A
mean,
lot
that-
of times you can
keep
do
their
your,
attention.
you can do your order and then it's billed July 1st. So, I mean,
Games
we
look like
know
fun,
that
too.
it's all set. you know.
Yeah.
Want to play the game?
As with all new materials, when you order anything new, like this year we just incorporated the new FOSS science. There's a lot of things that we had to do in order to prepare those lessons for the classroom. And it'll be the same for social studies.
Right.
But what's nice is once those things are made and prepared and laminated, then it can be used for the next year and it's not as much work. It's going to
Right.
be a lot of work to put this all together, but if we're given that time in the summer to be able to do that, that will be
It looks like a
plus.
great program.
Just as an example of all the free materials, the foldable handbook that you have there, that's part of the
one I
free
like.
materials. The oral language cards, vocabulary cards, the 6-year subscription online is the free materials. The citizenship big book, grades K-6, those are free materials. So a lot of what you're seeing right there is going to be given to us due to our purchase of the other materials. Back to the reason that we did not purchase textbooks. We've dealt with time issues here for quite some time, and we always are trying to find ways of fitting everything in, given all of the necessary components we have to meet in a given day. And finding ways to integrate is a good choice and necessary. So even though it looks like, oh, well, the kids might be missing out on something, they're not, because we're going to be able to give them a lot of material. And as Chris mentioned, that material is also going to be available online. We can set it up in the classroom, given the proper technology, to present that to our students. So even though they wouldn't actually have their hands on a textbook, they'll still get a lot out of the program.
I think my only concern would be someone who might not have access to a computer if they
No,
might
that
have
was our
assignments.
concern as well,
You know, that
within
they-
the classroom.
Right. So that would have been the only concern, if they didn't have access, you know, be able to.
That was actually my major concern when we started looking at all this and the presentation and all these things that are really, really fun things that we can do with
Right.
computer and projectors. And the first thought in my head is, okay, that sounds great, but
Right.
are we going to be able to use it?
Right. So what do you suggest?
Well, that you give us the technology.
What's the bottom line?
Give her a computer.
Computers.
But you remember that
Is it-
we have a warrant article that we are
Right.
going to have one per grade level.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you look at
One what per grade level?
one cart, one
Right.
traveling cart,
New laptop?
Yeah, and
Computers?
Computer.
iPads too.
An iPad.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yeah.
have one per grade level and there's 2 or 3 grade levels, they can organize your time so that you can swap it back and forth.
Mhm.
So it should be a little easier
Would
than
that
what
be
you
sufficient?
currently have.
Projectors and
Now what about
Those-
projectors? What
do
do
we
you have?
have? I don't know even how many we have in the building now. I know that there are teachers who do have access to them and have used them often. Like we have one right here.
But
I
is
know
you going to
how-
have access to it as easily, I mean, in your grade level? Or is
Yeah.
everyone going to need it at the same time and then leave you kind of stranded?
Well, that
I think
depends
I'm
on
looking at
how
is,
the schedule
are we going to get something that's great, a program, and then you not have what you need to implement it?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then what will you need? And, you know, what do we need to do to find it? To make sure that everything does run smoothly and doesn't hold you up?
Well, one teacher can have a laptop and do some of the stuff right on the laptop and project it onto a whiteboard, so that can be.
I know our concerns in the past too is when we purchase new materials, will our system be able to
Right.
run it?
Right. And do we know that it will?
We have that guy now, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
confident
Yeah,
that.
you're going to have brand new,
Right, the computers
the
will be brand
computers
So we
you're
should be
getting are
fine.
brand new, so they're going to be top of the line in terms of
She's
being
going to
able
hold us to this computer thing. I know.
Absolutely.
That's hard in our grade level.
Well, that's my only concern.
But
It looks great, but I really don't want to, have the program and then you not have what you need to implement it. So then it'd be a waste of money and a waste of your time
I
if you
mean, that's
can't.
what our concern was as well.
Right. So we need to see the bottom line, what they absolutely need. Make sure that,
What
there's
all
enough.
of this comes down to as far as cost right now, we're looking at a product total for K through 6, about $20,000 for all of these materials that I've introduced to you this evening.
Mhm.
And also keep in mind that that's the cost of those materials. The free materials is approximately, we're saving $10,000, or we're not having to spend $10,000 for, they're giving those to us with our purchase of the $20,000 worth of
What did we
materials.
budget for the social
I
studies
thought it
program?
was
Thought
40
it
off
was
the top
40.
of my head.
And what is the
Yes.
seventh and
Oh, I
eighth?
Oh, that does not, that's K6.
Right.
The
So-
7th and 8th grade would be a different.
They know what their budget is.
To me, it was
8,300 for the 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
So, I think
So
that
we're
puts us
well under budget, so
Yeah.
you
Right.
can throw
The free
in more
materials, is
computers
that
and
for
projectors.
Or is that, do you get something separate? The free materials, there's approximately $10,000 in free materials. Would that be for K through 8 or is it just K through 6?
That's K through 8.
K through 8, so you'll
Yeah.
also be able to,
It's just because a lot of
the
the,
licenses and everything.
a lot of the materials that are the free materials, though, will be utilized through K through 6.
Okay.
Because with Chris for 7th and 8th, it is basically the textbook, but then the online materials as well.
The online materials are
Yeah,
through
that-
subscriptions.
Yes, and those are
We got,
also- there's
we'd be
one-
buying 30 and they're throwing in 30, which is
Yeah.
It's really good.
pretty substantial.
And for us, we'd be purchasing 40 and getting 20 for free.
I think we need to compliment your team on your negotiating
Absolutely.
skills.
I know the
How
Sales
much was
ingenuity.
7 and 8, 8,300?
Right.
7 and 8, 8,300?
And you said you buy 30 and get 30 and that's the subscriptions. And K through 6, you buy 40 and get 20?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's it's a 6-year subscription. So again, keep in mind, after the 6 years, we have to relook at these things, and it would be then a purchase if we choose to get those extra 20 if we found it necessary.
So we have about a $40,000 budget for the social
That's
studies?
just off the top
That's
of
off
my
the top of my
head.
head, too.
Yeah.
But we're
that's
looking
just
at
off the top
28,
of
so
my
we're well
head.
under budget.
I'm thinking that should we be buying the textbooks for all the 7th and 8th grade kids and not just doing the classroom one?
Or 6. That's the other one that's kind of like I'm
We went
wondering
back and
about
forth
6.
with
Yeah.
6th grade, and again, it was a time concern that they would be able to implement based on the new Common Core and existing GLEs, that these materials would be able to supplement what they have been using already. And that the textbook was not something that they felt was a necessity at this time.
We have a little time before we really would have to make a final decision. It's not until a July 1st budget anyway. I
Right.
mean, you do want to have your order
Yeah.
placed and be in so that it comes out July 2nd, but
Well, you are under budget, but is there anything that you can foresee that you may be lacking if you get this program? I mean,
Time.
do you foresee a problem with the
Time.
technology,
Time.
with having just the one laptop
That
versus?
time, you're gonna make the day longer?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think of the suggestion of getting more textbooks that Judy just suggested?
I mean, on a personal level, I mean, my teaching, I don't utilize the textbooks most of the time. I'd say maybe 20–25% of the time I'll throw in a reading, or I'll use some questions from the book to get the kids to keep discussing kind of a main idea. But it's definitely not okay, read these 20 pages tonight. Well, not 20, that would be more like college style, but more like 5 or 6 pages tonight, and keep doing that. It's really more picking and choosing the parts in there that are the best.
But with the new textbooks, the kids are going to be looking at these new textbooks, and they're going to be really interested because the way they're set up, the visual, the
Visuals are great.
they're set up really nice. So.
And to thoroughly go through an entire textbook in 1 year, I mean, I'm only looking at 45 minutes a day, so I really have to find the main things that really hit the standards and target those.
I think just having the classroom textbooks makes the most sense, because you take them home, they get destroyed, then you replace them.
concerns because they don't have a computer.
Well, I guess
And they
that's
don't
my
get
concern,
utilized
is
as much.
the computer issue.
And I know that, I mean, I'm still hopping on that. My only concern is I don't feel that, you can't guarantee that every child has a computer, and I would hate to have a child not be able to participate in a homework assignment or, some kind of project because their household doesn't have a computer. So what can we do to assure that every child is able to access the information they need? I mean, what would your suggestions be? Would you be given assignments to do at home that they would have to have a computer? And how would we help the families who don't?
And I think this year is an example. I had enough books to give everyone, but these books are so old that literally you can take a hardcover book and bend it in half. They're falling apart, they're held together with masking tape. Some of them were moldy, so I separated those, obviously, and I just kind of began teaching in a way that didn't require sending a book home. If I wanted to give a reading, and it was like a 2-page reading, I'd photocopy it.
Okay.
Or we'd find ways to go over it in class. So right now, social studies in the middle school is not very dependent on the book. Using the book in the classroom as a tool to supplement what I'm doing has worked the best. Another thing going for me is class sizes. These are teacher-to-student ratios that you don't see in many other parts of the state. I was coming from Manchester with like 20 to 25 kids a class. My average is maybe like 15. I don't go any higher than 20. So if I had a classroom set of 30, I'd have a lot of wiggle room to be able to lend a book overnight, much the same way the library would, and I could work out a system where, look, it's it's due at the end of the week, and if not, you're eligible, you're responsible for it. Could work out a system like that. I've had to do that for some kids that go home. I'll sign them out a book, and as long as I stay on top of it, it hasn't done me wrong so far.
Any questions, anyone?
This looks like a great program, and thank you for all the hard work you've done in researching all this. It looks like fun.
All year, they've been working all year.
And you can,
Once a month.
it looks like a great program, and it's, of course, especially the younger ones, having the visuals and hands-on, I think that's really going to make them want to participate more. It looks great to me, and under budget.
Now,
Did a
what
great job.
exactly are the things, can you just tell me, Laurie, again,
Yep.
what are the things that the teachers are going to have to share?
Okay. The unit big idea video, which is a DVD of the whole program, which would be, there would be one, it would be housed here in the library. Okay. The foldable handbook, the Zykes, where did that one go?
It's a
You can copy
very
that
inexpensive.
That
yeah.
right there, that
Might be
that would be shared per, there would be 7 purchased, so 1 per grade level.
I'm just wondering, something like that,
I think I'd
is that
rather
a
have it
big
per
cost?
class.
I'd rather.
Yeah.
The costs are $26.79 per book.
teacher, this one.
For the foldable?
For that
How much you
particular
said?
book right there that Mr. Rooney has his hand on there.
$26? I
Yes.
almost think it's better off having every teacher being able to have one rather than share that.
Well, keep in mind too that once we make those activities,
That's it.
all that we would need to be presenting to students to make these activities is the paper.
Okay.
So we would just need to make the copies of what was necessary from that book
Oh, that makes sense.
and then give that. So it may not be necessary to purchase more
Okay.
It would just be that we have to make sure of where they are and that they are staying
Right.
accessible to us.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, but in the elementary school, don't the grade levels plan together anyway for
Oh, yeah.
consistency?
Well,
so-
we all teach the same